After Young is a 2021 low-key science fiction drama about a family losing their android companion. One of the themes explored in the film is the idea of death and the nothingness that follows, but it is also a battle cry against the folk metaphysics surrounding our conceptions of death, personhood, and family that still permeate culture today. In other words, our thinking about those things seems to be polluted by dated philosophical ideas, religion, and tradition. The film, however, offers a modest worldview that breaks with all of that. Here's my take on the film. After Young was written and directed by Kogonada, a South Korean filmmaker who started out as a video essayist. The film stars the ever-charming Colin Farrell as well as Jodie Turner-Smith, who play the foster parents of young Mika, a girl of Chinese roots. To help her keep in touch with those roots, the family bought her an elder brother, an android companion named Yang, who is to take care of Mika and teach her about Chinese culture. When Mika tells Yang that their parents aren't real parents, thus implying the traditional prejudice that biologically related families are in some sense of superior value, Yang takes her to a field full of fruit trees and explains the process of merging, or rather grafting, two types of trees. Grafting is a process by which a branch grows into the root of a new hosting tree, thus becoming a functioning part of the new whole. For the branch, it is important both which tree it comes from as well as which tree it merges with, but once the process is done, we see a new tree which is as real as any other tree. In that way, Mika's parents are, in the most important sense, her real parents, since parenthood doesn't have to be understood as being dependent on biological facts or the metaphysical concept of bloodline, but it can be understood simply through interpersonal relationships. As we will see again and again throughout this video, the new ontology that the film explores conceptualizes the world without reference to some transcendent facts about it. What it means to be a family or even a person, and what it means to die one day, can be known through our immediate relations to the world, rather than by metaphysical or religious thinking. What it means to be a human or a person has been a frequent question in science fiction. We could list the 1968 classic To Android's Dream of Electric Sheep and the later screen adaptation Blade Runner, as well as more modern titles such as the 2015 Ex Machina and the first season of Westworld. What these stories have in common is the emergence of strong artificial intelligence, which challenges our traditional ideas of what it means to be a person. Perhaps, as they imply, personhood has less to do with biological facts and more to do with functional facts. What makes us a person is not the fact that we have a soul or the fact that we are the human species and have a brain, but simply the fact that a process is able to take place which makes us act intelligently. This can happen inside an organic brain or a silicon gel or inside a vast web of wires. When Jake, Colin Farrell's character, asks whether Young ever wanted to become human, this inquiry is quickly shot down by Young's friend, who says that this is a very human-centered question, one that implies that there's superior value in the membership of Homo sapiens. Throughout the film, questions are scattered of Young's identity, whether his memories are real, whether he is truly Chinese, since the culture was merely programmed into him, whether he himself is real. But such questions can only ever arise because our thinking has been accustomed to break reality into abstract categories such as human and machine. Young acts like a person, talks like a person, and, as will be strongly implied later, feels like a person. To ask whether he really is a person seems to imply that there must be something more, a metaphysical quality to being a person. A more modest and philosophically sound worldview would not ask such a question. Kogonada said in an interview that he is obsessed with the idea of the nothing that follows death. After Young is essentially a film that starts with Young's death and acts as an exploration of that nothing, not through the eyes of Young, who is not there anymore, who has been swallowed by nothing, so to say, but through the eyes of his family. In a flashback scene, Young has been asked how he feels about death, and he summarizes his answer with the words of the antique Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu. What a caterpillar calls an ant, the world calls a butterfly. What this implies is a change in perspective from which we view death. If death is merely a void, eternal nothingness from one perspective, it is still something from the other, interpersonal perspective. As Keanu Reeves remarkably said in a talk show when asked about what happens after we die,
I know that the ones who love us will miss us.
the person dies, but the world goes on. It is uncomfortable to think about our consciousness dispersing into a void, into nothingness, but what can ease this feeling is a shift in perspective. Young dies, but his death is an event in the lives of others, a metaphorical butterfly that opens them up to the previously unseen beauty of life. As Young dies, a repairman extracts a file from Young's memories. As it turns out, the file is a compilation of short snippets from life that Young felt most worthy to be remembered. This prompts Jake, Colin Farrell's character, to go through these memories and try to understand Young better, which I would say starts one of the most poetic and beautiful scenes in modern cinema. What's striking at first is Young's preoccupation with empty space and silence, the fragile and transient beauty of his surroundings. In that sense, he looked at the world as an aesthetician or even phenomenologist, phenomenology being the study of our immediate perception of the world. Capturing this beauty, these moments of mindfulness, seems to hint at a philosophy of life that tries to conceive of life not as something that has meaning after it, through what we build and leave behind, but as something that has meaning in itself and for itself at every part of its being. The meaning of life is not outside of life, but rather living that life. The value of time is not instrumental in the sense that it allows us to do more and create more and become better and do better things and make the world a better place. The value of time is inherent, valuable for itself and by itself, meant to be lived through fully, consciously and mindfully, because in the end there is nothing. But before that there was something, and that something was there before you and will continue after you, but not for you, for others.